So we've now completed looking at all of the properties we could set for a flex container. We're going to start to look at the properties you could set for the flex items. So over here at the CSS Tricks website, which provides great guidance for working with Flexbox, we have flex container and all the properties for flex container on the left, and we have flex items and all the properties for flex items on the right. So there's order, there's flex grow, there's flex shrink, flex basis, flex, which is shorthand for flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. And then there's align self. We're going to start with align self because we were just doing align items and align content over on the container. And align self it will override align items, okay? And so align self is just like align items. It's working on the cross axes, and you could take one of the individual items and you could change how it's aligned on the cross axes. So maybe we would have said align items flex start, and so all of this was set to flex start up here, and then we chose this one item. We said, hey, make that align self flex end. And so that's how that works. And so here's an example of that. This one is flex start. So these were all align items flex end, and this one is flex start. These were all align items flex start, and this one's align self flex end, align self flex end. This one was all align items flex start, align self center. And then here we have align self stretch. And then here we have align self baseline, right? So lined up the baseline of all of this text in each of those three. You can come over here to our code. And if we look in 031 Flexbox, we're done looking at all of the container properties. We're now going to look at the item properties and align self, order, flex, grow, shrink, basis, and flex. Right now we're looking at align self. And there's flex start, flex end, center, stretch, baseline. So here's the HTML and then also the CSS for flex start. And you can see that the body right here, we have display flex. So that's a flex container. That makes all of these immediate children, right, flex items. We're saying flex flow, row wrap. So it's going to put everything in a row and wrap it if it exceeds the width of the page. And so what that looks like so far is right here, right? And align items flex end. So all the items got put down at the end. And remember, align items works on the cross axes. So flex flow is row, so flex directions row. That means our main axis is row, cross axis is vertical. Align items works on the cross axis, the vertical, and we're saying go to the end of that. So that's how this stuff all ended up at the end. And then we gave the body a height and a border, and so that's where you see this red, and that just gives it room to move things up and down. And then we have the div, and with the divs we did a width, a height, a margin, a border. So width, height, margin between them, border around them, and a background color and text align center. So that's just formatting. And then on deviate, this ID here, we said align self flex start. So that put that up at the start. The next one, we switched it around a little bit, and we did align items, used to be flex end. And we said, hey, align items flex start. And for the one that deviates, we then said, make that one flex end. Right? Went from flex start to flex end. So we just sort of swapped everything and turned it around. The next one, very similar. Same HTML on the first three right there. The next one, when we compare it, sorry, that's the fourth one. The next one, when we compare it, you can see the only thing that's switching is flex end. On that line 21 is going from flex end to center for align self. So it goes from flex end to center. And then the next one, the fourth one, does that. It stretches it. And so I gave the height. I took the height out of here, and I just applied it to three divs, right? To those three divs. What's the code? Cool. Those three divs right there. Applied it to those three divs. And because if you have a height on here, then this stretch doesn't work, right? So if I put this height here, height is going to override the stretch and just refresh, nothing. But if I take that height out, and refresh, then I get the stretch. So that's just using align self stretch. And then finally, baseline. Baseline's a pretty unique, unique value that you'd set to the property of align self. So I'm going to let you look through that one on your own and reason through what the code's doing here to get the baselines to line up. Just know that it exists, that if you have text in different containers, you could get all that text to line up on the baseline. All right, that's align self.